Hi everyone, and thank you very much for joining our Robotics and Flying Labs Network webinar series. Just before we get started, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me.
I hear you well from Philippines.
Thank you very much. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So thanks again for joining our Robotics and Flying Labs Network webinar series. My name is Gilles, and I'm one of the Flying Labs community coordinators at Robotics. This month's webinar will feature the work of our Benin, Philippines, and Uganda Flying Labs. You can learn more about these Flying Labs through their dedicated Flying Labs websites, and learn more about the work Robotics and the Flying Labs do, also through social media and our Robotics blog post, which you can find at blog.werobotics.org that have many regular updates. We host this webinar series every month, so keep an eye on Robotics social media for future ones. Today, Tinah from Uganda, Dr. Abdelaziz from Benin, and Leigh and Joel from the Philippines, who work with Dr. Heidi, who unfortunately could not join us today, will give us an overview of the achievements of their Flying Labs teams over the past few months and a brief overview of the plans forward. But just before we get started, I'll give you a brief intro about Robotics and our Flying Labs network. Today, given the mounting challenges that are rising from new technologies, the real question we face is whether we will end up creating a future with shared prosperity or increased concentration of wealth for a few only. Technology itself is not going to create shared prosperity. So at Robotics, we believe in an inclusive and democratic fourth industrial revolution, and that the decisions are in the hands of local people, best adapting it to their needs and opportunities. Our motto is the power of local, and by this we mean that we invest in local experts, local engineers, local leaders, to ensure that social challenges are solved efficiently and sustainably by local experts who are actually best placed to address these challenges. They have the skills, network, and technology to do a lot more and a lot faster. And we do this by globally co-creating Flying Labs. Flying Labs are local knowledge hubs tackling environmental, humanitarian, and social challenges through the use of robotics, data, and AI, including terrestrial, aerial, and marine drones. These are run entirely by our local experts who we work with, equip, train, and support as needed. We've built the core infrastructure to enable these Flying Labs to become self-sustaining, and currently we have Flying Labs in over 20 countries, spanning the globe from Panama all the way to Fiji. Flying Labs also collaborate together and train each other, creating ecosystems which connect key actors in government, industry, technology, and other sectors. We've built this global network in just 2 years, and all of this driven by massive local demand. So we want to continue supporting our local partners and the demand for more inclusive, equal opportunities and local leadership. We also want to invest in hundreds of local leaders across many more Flying Labs in the future, tackling aid, agriculture, environmental, and other social good projects across the globe. So thank you very much, and now I'm handing over the presentation to Leigh and Joel from the Philippines. So please just bear with us as we're transitioning the presentation across countries. Thank you. Hello, Leigh. Hello, Joel.
Hello, Gilles.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see and hear you. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Leigh. I am a member of the Philippine Flying Labs. I will be presenting our activity highlights and our upcoming activities for the year. So we want to share with you 3 major activities that we did. So mainly it's about drones for marine conservation, drones for disaster resilience, and Drone 101 training. In August 2018, we conducted an aerial mapping survey in Malapascua, a remote island in the Philippines. We demonstrated to the local community leaders, remote area medical Philippine volunteers, and NGO SharkLink how to operate drones for aerial mapping, its importance in planning, disaster risk, and asset management. We are hoping that the data we gathered here will be used by the community to protect treasure sharks by making sure the surrounding environment will be clean and safe for the endangered species. Okay, so we used Senfly EV drone for the survey and processed the 2 square kilometer area using Pix4D. This year, we will conduct another aerial mapping survey in the island, and we plan to engage students by teaching them how to operate drones safely. Okay. The next would be, in September 2018, Typhoon Mangkhut devastated the northern part of the Philippine island. Particularly, the farmers' livelihood was heavily affected because the typhoon struck days or weeks before its harvest. With the help of the local government leaders, we were able to conduct aerial mapping in Pudtol. Pudtol is a 4th-class municipality in the province of Apayao. So this picture right here is one of the main churches in Pudtol that was damaged, and they were constructing it when we visited last October. Okay, so on the left photo shows one family's plantation field that shows signs of uprooted trees during the typhoon. And then the photo on the right is a field crop where the farmers harvested damaged corn and rice. Okay, and we also provided the local government raw images and orthophoto to the Disaster Risk Management Office for them to analyze and use for planning and asset management. Then the next would be Drone 101, our flying workshop. So recreational drone flying has been increasing in the Philippines. As part of our mandate, we organized a drone training session for beginner drone and mapping enthusiasts. We did a 2-hour lecture part discussion discussing drone code of conduct, Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines guidelines, and shared our own personal experience with using drones in mapping or just taking quality photos. Then hands-on experience with drones in a nearby area. The Bike Scouts team were experienced with drone flying, so they were very keen about mapping aspect of the training and the processing. So this is what we were able to map using DJI Phantom and Mavic. So the workshop empowered all the participants with invaluable insights and notions to make them more confident with their flying skills and how to fly responsibly. Okay, so what's next for the Philippine Flying Labs? So we have upcoming activities. So the first would be fault and landslide mapping in Central Luzon. And then, as I mentioned a while ago, fly a drone educational program for the local youth. So a 6.1 magnitude earthquake hit Central Luzon last April. According to the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Report, there were many casualties and structural damages in certain cities. So in partnership with the University of the Philippines Resilience Institute, we will conduct a study in the affected areas in the mountainous region of Pampanga and Zambales. So our particular engagement to that project will be to conduct aerial survey to identify possible landslide location and potential fault line. Currently, we are waiting for a good weather to fly, and we will be conducting the survey using our Waldo Air X-Cam-B mounted on Cessna 172 aircraft. Okay, and last would be the Fly a Drone Educational Program. So we were awarded with the Robotics Microgrant Program for Fly a Drone educational program that aims to train local youth, particularly in remote areas with limited access to good facilities and up-to-date equipment to pique the curiosity of young minds. As I've mentioned before, we are targeting to conduct our first pilot area in Malapasco Island this coming August. So, Sir Joel, do you have anything to add?
Well said, Leigh. I have nothing more to add. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Leigh, for this presentation. Very interesting, and we can do a round of questions and answers at the end.
Good morning to you all. My name is Tinah Mutabazi from Uganda Flying Labs, and we believe in the power of the locals. We shall take you through some of the activities we have done in Uganda and where we are going with, in terms of impacting our communities. All right, so we shall be taking you through a few activities which we have done, and probably for you to understand who Uganda Flying Labs is, some few trainings we have done, and the proposed rain tree farm project, which we intend to be doing probably beginning of next year. Okay, Uganda Flying Labs is a non-profit organization which is purposefully trying to take care of social good initiatives and foundations, solutions for challenges that are prevailing in Uganda through use of appropriate robotic and supportive technologies with focus on hardware, software, and services. The goal is to build a collaborative framework around the use of robotics for community building and knowledge sharing through training pilots, as well as training them on processing and analysis of the images. Our major thrust is to improve the social and economic good of the community through projects that are impactful. We have noticed that there is a huge gap of data, especially geodata, and UAV has been our solution to the major cry. UAV turns out to be of high resolution in terms of images, and the data is collected, analyzed almost real time. It is relatively low as compared to the previous tools we have been using, such as satellite imagery. It is a great tool for rapid response and can also be used for video coverage, which we have done in the past to monitor some work in Bududa using motion data, and we are also rolling towards cargo carriage. Our maiden project was in Bududa last year, where we saw ourselves working with Uganda Red Cross Society in conjunction with the Office of the Prime Minister, when we were hit by a disaster which saw over 80 people die in eastern Uganda. We collected aerial geolocated photos of the affected area, generated auto photos for building damage assessment, and also captured video coverage in order for Red Cross to know how best they could find access to respond to the victims of the disaster, and also for relocation. We had to do an analysis of the soils and see whether there was a lot of damage, and probably tell the responsible government organs on the cracks which were discovered. As you can see, there was a crack which was discovered in between the buildings, which was a potential damage. We used Pictera to do our building detection and see which buildings were retained after the disaster, because most of the properties were damaged. Now, moving forward to training, we have done 7 elementary trainings and 1 intermediate training. One of the major projects which we did in line with training was with UNHCR in northern Uganda. That was also in conjunction with Office of Prime Minister. This was to determine, it was in a refugee camp where we wanted to determine the risks that are associated with the refugee security, food, water, and these maps were going to be used for response by UNHCR. This training really went well. We also taught the team, the entire team, on how to do the processing of images as well as analysis. As you can see, here is our team in the field in northern Uganda, in Arua, training the participants. Now, moving forward to the proposed rain tree farm project. The problem statement, which was discovered through our interaction with the farmer, was that moringa is a tree that is small and very difficult to count, and they wanted to do a tree count which would enable them to calculate their yield when time came for yielding. There was also a need to find the proximity distance of outgrowers from the main farm, considering that moringa, once it is harvested, it has to be taken to the station of production within a period of 1 hour or less. So we intend to be doing a distance calculation using the images to see how far apart the outgrowers to the main farm and the terrain, in order for us to plan adequately on the type of transport which is going to be used. One of the issues that has been affecting the production of moringa is lightning. As you know, that Uganda is a country that is highly capitalized with rains being on the equator. Moringa gets really affected by lightning, so we are intending to be doing a lightning impact assessment, and this can only be done when we have done soil assessment to find out how much nitrogen content is in the soil, because nitrogen is highly attractive to lightning. So we shall also be doing soil pHs in this project using the drone. I will not talk so much about the benefits of using drones as compared to other technologies, but I can only highlight a few things that we are going to be doing a survey of the farmland. Remote sensing is one of the key things which we are going to do. Mapping fields and crops as well as the land. Precision agriculture is what we intend to achieve from it. We're going to use multispectral measurements for site-specific land developments. As this is a farm that is still in progress, we're going to do analytical analysis on soil health and vigor crops, and of course inform the farmer on the environmental impact. The workflow which we have is showing you that we are going to go into primary tillage, crop residue, to check the coverage, and then we do aerial image survey using the drones, capture the images, forming zone management, and then we go to the labs and do our remote sensing to see to zone the soil types. We'll have already done the algorithms, and then we check. We go back to the on ground to collect the soils according to what we have seen on the images. Then we go through the soil analysis in the labs. Precisely, we'll need a 3D map to analyze the soil and field geography before planting. We're going to also do soil surveying or classification area that share similar soil properties. That is to say, to also find out really that what is the soil pH, the salinity, the texture, as well as the slopes, the water contents, as well, and the retention of water, the erosion hazards, and do our estimates in order to come up with the maps. So that will be the process which we are going to do in line with soils, and then it will be easy for us to advise the farmer on the way forward in terms of the nitrogen, whether he should neutralize the nitrogen if it is too high, and it is the type of nitrogen which can attract lightning. Now, moving to monitoring crops. One of the key things we should want to do on this project is to monitor crops. We are going to do calculation of plant height, crops number, and the density, how dense they are in one area as compared to the other, especially that we have outgrowers. We are going to be working alongside with the key farmer, who is the stakeholder of this project. We'll compare the images, not necessarily year by year. It's going to be actually quarterly, because moringa can be harvested in less than 6 months. We can have 2 cycles of moringa within a year. This will give the farm management an insight on the crops. Their height will determine whether they are healthy, and the density will also determine whether they are getting enough nutrients in order for the farmer to respond adequately. Probably he has to go back in the field, in the area which has been tagged, to either fill in, put in a new plant in case there are plants which died along the way. Moringa is a self-sustaining plant. It doesn't need a lot of fertilizer, no water, and it doesn't really get affected by plants in the first few cycles. This is still virgin land. We are not going to focus so much on the matter of plant stress. What we'll focus mainly on is censoring when it's about to flower, because that process, it has to be harvested within a certain period of time. Otherwise, it will turn into seeds and will not be able to harvest the leaves. The leaves can only be harvested when they are still tender. Stocktaking is one of the major take-homes for the farmer. He would want us to do periodical stocktaking in order for him to do predictions of harvests, and also for him to have an understanding of whether the outgrowers are taking care of the seedlings which will have been distributed to them. This will also determine the location, the duration of harvest with outgrowers, and also save time of farmers to improve on efficiency of harvesting. This has also been noted that it will also help the transporters to line themselves up if the stocktaking has been done adequately, to go to the right places in time to collect the harvest, so that it can be taken within a time span of 3 hours or 2 hours, because the leaves are highly perishable. So we are envisioning stocktaking to be one of the key things to inform the farmer of how many moringa trees are still in existence, and in case some of the moringa has been pulled out for as a fraud, he can easily detect it, especially with the outgrowers. Stocktaking, as I said, that is the major purpose of this project. The farmer finds it very, very important for us to come up with facts which are going to ascertain the number of accountability of outgrowers. Probably, let's say, it will be a quick way of accountability to the outgrowers because of the investment which he has made to the local community. He would want us to periodically give him stock of how the outgrowers are using the seedlings. And I must say that we are excited to help this farmer in terms of stock taking, because he really has to come up with an accountability. This project has some funding. Thank you very much. And I know that when we have done the classifying and the zoning, collecting of soil samples, we are going to minimize on the lightning impact of that community, because it is well known that in Masindi there's quite a lot of lightning due to the nitrogen contents in the soil. And we hope to ensure that the farmer will have solutions that will make him an impact in his community. It is intended for the moringa trees to be exported, the product for nutritional value, for nutrition supplements, and as well as other byproducts which will be sold to various people in the Ugandan community and outside market. Having said that, I believe we've come to the end of our presentation. Questions and answers will not be availed. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to this.
So, thank you. So Abdel, I'm just passing the presentation over to you.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. And I will follow Gilles in welcoming you to this webinar. It is a real pleasure to share with you our work at Benin Flying Lab. Well, initiated a year ago, after the scoping workshop conducted by Sonia, one of the co-founders of We Robotics, Benin Flying Lab will have exactly officially 1 year tomorrow. So this is one of the best ways for us to celebrate our 1 year anniversary by sharing with you some of our projects. Well, through this presentation, I will present the Benin Flying Lab and some key elements to our success. I will then discuss some of our projects, and then close with a brief introduction about the project to come. My name is Abdelaziz Lawani, and I'm the director of the Benin Flying Lab. I'm also an assistant professor at Eastern Kentucky University, where I work on the use of drone in agriculture. And I'm also part of Africa Goes Digital, which is a consortium of African businesses that work on using digital solutions for development in Africa. And finally, I'm also the founder of Global Partners, which is the Benin-based startup that actually hosts the Benin Flying Lab. Well, the Benin Flying Lab, like We Robotic, Gilles was saying, is a Beninese robotic knowledge hub that focuses on solving local knowledge and needs through the use of appropriate robotic and AI technologies. The Benin Flying Lab benefits from the support of 3 organizations whose contributions have been essential to our success. These institutions are ADN, We Robotic, of course, and Global Partners. We all know We Robotic, which is about sustainably localized, appropriate robotic solutions where they are most needed, and that is the mission. And also by investing in local experts, we benefit from training from We Robotic, local experts who use this solution to accelerate the positive impact of health development and environmental effects. Well, the ADN, which is, like I was saying, Agence pour le Développement du Numérique, is a government agency responsible for implementing the government flagship project in the digital sector. ADN works with different stakeholders in Benin to achieve a government goal which is to make Benin the digital hub of West Africa. And finally, Global Partners is a Benin-based startup. It is a team of GIS analysts, agronomists, researchers, and drone operators that use drone with advanced sensor and imaging capabilities to develop and provide expert digital solutions for agriculture, land use planning, infrastructure inspection, surveillance, and other field, for example, biodiversity conservation. Global Partners also provide tailored training to professionals in different sectors. And at Global Partners, artificial intelligence is combined with other digital solutions, such as cell phone and satellite imagery, to support farmers and develop sustainable solutions to the most pressing challenge in Africa. So these two organizations are the backbone of Benin Flying Lab. We all share the same vision as We Robotics, at the end provide us with the institutional support needed to conduct pilot projects with high impact. They have connection across the country and with different government agencies. Global Partners provide us with the scientific and technical expertise needed to develop the appropriate solution, and all these three partners address local needs. So we are working with local communities. Our vision, institution, and technical expertise guarantee the success of our operation. So at Global Partners, the first activity that we conducted was to know our partners. And at Benin Flying Lab, the first activity that we conducted was to know our partners and also the potential stakeholder who could join the Benin Flying Lab, bringing in the skills and expertise, but also partners who could facilitate the implementation of pilot projects at the local level. So we conducted a survey on drone operators in Benin and also conducted a workshop to examine the constraints faced by drone operators in the country. This workshop will be followed by another one on drone regulation in the coming month. This will help us create an environment that will enable the use of drones for good. The survey was conducted in collaboration with Africa Goes Digital and CTA, and another survey is being launched in the coming days, but this time at the continental level, and this will allow us to better understand who are the drone users, businesses, states, or private companies, or individuals who are using the drone. What are the challenges that they face? What are they using drone for? So those knowledge and skills that are actually not the knowledge and skills, but we also examine the knowledge and skills that they have and where there's a need actually to improve them. So we'll appreciate if a community of Flying Lab could help us spread the word about this survey. Indeed, one of the results of the survey that we conducted in Benin informed us that less than 1% of drone users actually follow all the steps needed to actually before they implement the drone project. So there's a regulation in Benin, and not all the drone users actually follow the legal framework when they are conducting the drone operation. This raises an important question related to the safety of drone operation. What is drone operation? I mean, what if, for example, drone operators, right, put us at risk by using unsafe procedure? And then thanks to the financial support of the CTA, we will be addressing that challenge through an online course. And the project is titled Training African Drone Pilots in an Harmonized Regulatory Environment, which will provide drone pilots in Africa with the knowledge and skills needed to fly the drone responsibly while ensuring the safety in the airspace. So we presented the project yesterday at the ICAO regional office, International Civil Aviation Organization. They have a regional meeting in Africa, in Accra. So we presented the project yesterday, and it was very comforting to have the support of all the regional office and also of the ICAO in implementing the project. So this will be done with the School of Aviation at Eastern Kentucky University, which has an extensive experience training many generations of pilots, and also the School of Aviation also has a drone pilot program. Another pilot project that we conducted take advantage of artificial intelligence to derive knowledge from a complex set of images. So you are probably aware when you conduct your drone project on a large surface that it is quite difficult to recognize some specific features on the image. And for those who will use the end product, for example, those who are urban planner in our case, it is quite challenging for them to look at the image or map and spot the information that they need. Well, AI, artificial intelligence, can help us actually achieve this goal automatically by grouping features that are similar depending on the need of a user. So that is what we did here. We use the image collected with a drone to help in urban planning. We also recognize the potential of drone to be used in STEM education, and using a phone tool and counting on student, right, who will be asking the usual why this and why that, why this and why that question. We will use that in order to explain them concepts that would have been difficult to comprehend in the classroom, and in a fun way using drone. So that's what we did actually through this project, where we are using drone in a school setting. So the students wanted to know about, for example, the importance of how does a drone work, what is the difference between a fixed wing and a multi-rotor. And by explaining those differences, we were directly stepping into some STEM activities. And we hope that actually this type of project will increase the students' interest in STEM. Finally, the last project that I will talk about here is the use of drones to support pineapple farmers. So through a workshop, we were able to engage them and show them the potential of using drones in their productive activities. So this project will be followed up by another one where we'll be using farmer field school in some pineapple farmers farm. So we'll be selecting some pineapple farmers, and then on the farm we will be setting up some simple experiments. Basically, the farmers will benefit from the drone services, and then during the whole agricultural campaign. And then other farmers can actually see the result on the farm, and hopefully they'll be able to adopt also this digital solution in their operation. So that is some of the projects that we conducted. I'm going to talk a little bit about the upcoming project. We have a tourist promotion activities in North Benin. So we'll use drone in order to promote tourism in the northern part of Benin. We'll be collecting image, and we'll also be shooting some video and putting that together. We hope that the video will actually attract more tourists in the northern part of the country. We'll also be launching next week, actually, our drone academy, which is basically a place where students and also students at the university and also in the secondary school can go and learn about drone. Similar to the previous presenter, they will also learn about how to code in order to make those tools work. We have another project on the water hyacinth. The water hyacinth is a crop that cover lakes in Benin, the Lac Noko in Benin, and it tends to destroy the I would say the life under it. So for population, this is kind of like a weed that they want to get rid of. And there have been some projects that are trying to get rid of that plant. So we want to see, using the drone, we want to actually monitor the activities of those projects. We also have projects on using drone for protected area management, collecting data for climate change mitigation with farmers, and also, like I was talking about, conducting farmer field school in the community of Zell with pineapple farmers. There are other projects, but I will just stop here. And before I close my my presentation, I would like to take a minute to thank the team of Benin Flying Lab, without whom none of the activities that we just mentioned could have taken place. So there are Jerry, our chief drone operator, Evra, Asen, and the lady, Mireille, the most beautiful among all of them. Not that the male are ugly, but you will agree with me that without her, that picture, it won't be nice. So, well, all these guys are the one dedicated to making Benin Flying Lab a successful hub. And of course, the community that works with us, because without that community, Benin Flying Lab will not have any reason to be. Allow me to stop here. Your comments and questions and hopefully suggestions will hopefully help me discuss in more detail some of the projects presented here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abdel. Yeah, very interesting to see the organization of organizations that participate in the scope of what Benin Flying Labs do, and also the STEM engagement, working with youth, which is also something that Leigh mentioned and more Flying Labs are doing at the moment. So we're looking at collaboration across Flying Labs as well. So thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions?
Can I jump in here, actually?
Yes, sure.
Since my name is Sophie Terp-Clausen. I'm currently doing my master's thesis on the use of humanitarian drones for especially local and community-based disaster management. And so hearing the presentation from the Philippines and the interesting projects that they'll be doing there on fault lines and landslides, I just wanted to let Leigh and the office there know that I'll probably be reaching out within the next couple of days to them to potentially see if there would be an opportunity to do some field study there. I've been in contact with Patrick Meyer of Flying Labs as well, or from Robotics as well, to try to connect to some of the different Flying Labs, but just to let Leigh know that there might be an email from me in the coming days regarding a potential research opportunity there. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Sophie, and yeah, thank you very much for letting us know, and happy to support as well. So if you want, I'm happy to share my email address. So looking forward to discussing more over the next few days. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you, Gilles. Bye.
Bye.